So how much should your bug out bag or survival kit actually weigh? Folks, it's Fernando. Welcome to another video for Modern Survivalists. It's a fairly common question, and when people especially start putting together their kits, that's one of the things they wonder. Is this too much? Is this too heavy? And usually the answer is yes, it is. Look, there's a standard number to go by, which is 20% of your body mass. So whatever number you weigh, 20% of that should be the maximum weight of your bag. Now, having said that, at least in my experience, you should consider that an absolute maximum. 20% of your body mass is a heck of a lot of weight for most grown adults. You can do a lot of kit, a lot of gear with even half as much. My idea is if I can get away with 10%, that's what I go for. In fact, for many day hikes and that sort of thing, you can do with a lot less than that. You don't need to break your back with 20% of your body mass. And here's where some guy will say, oh, but you know what, in the Marines, well, I actually know a Marine that busted his feet, not because he was shot, but because of the amount of weight he was carrying. No, it's actually fairly common to hear about these kind of injuries. Carrying too much weight in stressful situations for a long period of time is actually one of the leading causes of injuries for a lot of these guys. So you want to minimize, you don't want to destroy your body, right? And even if you're young, even if you're fit, weight is something you want to avoid. It's the same thing if you're having a good time, if you're going on holidays, if you're going hiking for fun, if you're training, if you're practicing your bug out drills, if you are escaping during an emergency. Whatever the case is, trust me on this one, the less weight you have, the better it's going to turn out for you. If you're going through a trail that is a little bit harder, a little bit more difficulty, if it's a higher degree of risk of injury, of twisting your ankle, of breaking your leg, you will appreciate having less weight. Look, it's as simple as this. You don't know if someone may end up getting hurt and you have to carry them along. You have to help them along. So minimize your weight as much as you can. Given that in these days we have a lot of options, you have very light tents, you have very light sleeping bags. There's things that you cannot avoid. For example, if you have a rifle, a long gun, even an M4 carbine, which is somewhat of a lighter gun, or even something like this, a short bolt action type of rifle, you're still looking at 3-4 kilos, give or take, especially if you start adding scopes, ammunition, and so on. So weight adds up very quickly. My advice is minimize that as much as you can. You can go with an M9 bayonet knife, right? Oh, well, this is what the US military issues. Yeah, sure, but the Austrian military issues a Glock knife that is still a knife, still very tough, and a lot lighter. And realistically for you, maybe you don't even need much of a big knife or even a machete. You just go with a small folder. Do I even need a machete, a hatchet, an axe, a shovel? Do I need these things? Or is it just a matter of, oh, I just saw someone else having it and maybe I could potentially need it, so I just start carrying? No, that's not how this goes. And it really depends on what the planning is. I mean, is it a matter of, yes, you really do have to hike for several miles? That's part of your bug out plan? Okay, so be it. Plan accordingly. Keep also in mind, many times you see some of these backpackers with pretty large packs. Sometimes they're pretty large in terms of volume, but the amount of weight, given the lightweight gear that's available, maybe it's not as heavy as you think. Now, maybe it's a smaller pack that has quite a bit of weight. Water is one of those things that, ironically enough, in high temperature regions, that's going to be one of your main concerns, and it's going to be quite heavier than sometimes you expect, thinking, oh, it's a warm climate, I don't need like heavy clothing. Yeah, but you need water, and if you're really going to walk for a long period of time, water is going to be one of your priorities. Maybe that's none of the things you have in mind. Maybe for you, a bug out bag or a bug out kit of some sort is something like this. You just have a little bit of cash, documents, passports, maybe a weapon of some kind, first aid kit, little else. Same thing for something like this. You don't need a heck of a lot of stuff. So with a small bag like that, I'm good, I'm covered. I'm not planning on going on a damn hiking trip in the middle of an emergency. Those are different things, okay? So carrying everything you could possibly throw into the largest bag you can buy on Amazon just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, even having a gun in your bug out bag, is it something I would advise? Yes, whenever possible, at least some sort of weapon so as to defend yourself. Maybe even a handgun is better than a rifle. Depends on where you are, depends on the needs you have, depends on the potential situations you may find yourself in. But in general, I mean, just look at what happened with people that were fleeing Kiev during the initial invasion from Russia. Those people that were evacuating just days before the full-on attack on the capital, those people were leaving in one of these tote little suitcases, the same ones we use when going on holidays. You don't have to pretend to be some Rambo badass tactical dude with a bunch of camo. Maybe a little suitcase like ordinary people carry on trips is carrying everything you need and more, and it has little wheels because you're not hiking with it. You're just bringing that from whatever place you have of residence and throwing it in the back of a car, throwing it in the back of a truck, on an Uber, on a taxi, and then going into an airplane, and you just made your way out of that mess. Or avoiding a natural disaster, basically the same thing. You just load up a truck or a vehicle of some sort and you just get the hell out of there. So that's where the 20% of your body mass rule simply doesn't apply. Now, there's a potential of some emergency happening. Maybe you have to continue on foot. Well, plan accordingly. Do I have a larger bag? Do I have a smaller bag in case I have to leave some stuff behind? What's my contingency plan in case of that sort of thing happening? Well, you'll have to work on that as well. But my point is, minimize weight as much as you can. Trust me, most of the kits, bug out bags, 72-hour kits, escape and evasion bags, many of these things that you see people, the inch bag, I'm never coming home bag, maybe some of the, those loaded so much beyond what is reasonable, they just don't make any sense. And you see this all the time. Be realistic about what you need. Try to cover the main essential things. You just cannot go without. If I'm evacuating a damn country, I will need my passport. I will need cash. I will need a ticket, right? You may want to have a first aid kit. You may want to have a change of clothes. Maybe not a whole lot more than that. Just think about the stuff that you could easily replace with money later on. That's the kind of thing you just don't carry along with you, all right? But again, your own personal situation is going to be completely different from someone else's. But having said that, most of us live in kind of somewhat the same deal thing. You're either living in a city or close to a city, or a town or close to a town. Very few of us are living in the middle of nowhere in Patagonia, or in the middle of a natural park in a national park, or in the middle of damn Alaska or the Taiga River, right? No, most of us live in places where you have ways of moving around that are far more efficient than just carrying a bag and hitting the road on foot. Okay, guys, so keep it real, be honest with yourself, and above all, try to minimize that weight as much as you can. For more on realistic survival and preparedness, you have my books, Street Survival Skills and Surviving the Economic Collapse, based on my personal experience. Links there below for Amazon. See you next time. Take care.